right, legends. Hope you're all having a fantastic morning, good afternoon, good evening, because I know I've got people from all over the world watching the live stream, dialing in for the technical analysis. Remember, as per the disclaimer, I am not a financial advisor. I'm here to share with you how I approach the markets. I encourage you to do your own research, and you are responsible for your own risk management. Okay, this is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Welcome to the live stream. Remember to destroy that like button if you haven't done so already. Let's analyze what is going on here more locally. And as per the thumbnail, okay, price needs to form a higher low. Let me just let the cat out of the bag. Okay, price should not claim this low over here for the bulls to have a chance for momentum to continue to the upside. Okay, we have barely changed a little bit of market structure over here. So you have, okay, just look at the structure. You have a high, you have a lower high, you have a lower high, and then you have a higher high. Okay, you have that low and you have a higher low. And you barely made a higher high over here. So for the bulls, from a market structure perspective, okay, you want momentum to continue and not take out this low. And why is this low so important? I'll dive into the details now. So for the bulls to have a chance for continued momentum here to the upside, this low needs to hold. Okay. Looks like that, you know, there's not a lot of volume yet. But I mean, it can change very quickly, because if I dive, and I know I'm spending a little bit of time here on the smaller time frame, guys, because if the bulls have any chance for momentum to continue here to the upside, I'm counting this structure as a 1, 2, and a 1, 2, and it needs to explode in a third wave to the upside. Or at a bare minimum, you want to see a contracting diagonal here to the upside. Okay, what do I mean by a contracting diagonal? I'm just looking at this structure over here. Is it this one? Oh, did we invalidate? I was looking at this structure over here. It also doesn't look good for contracting diagonal. So I think the only chance the bulls have left over here is a double 1, 2. And you can see that, you know, just from a simplicity perspective, I'm tracking the momentum here to the downside. If price finds its feet, okay, and it breaks out over here, there's a chance for the bulls to move higher. There's a chance. Okay, the one thing that does not look great, guys, and sorry, sometimes I just need to be that person. Okay, it's not nice to be that person, but I like to say that sometimes I need to tell people what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. So it is a bit concerning, okay, with this momentum here to the upside. Yes, you can say that maybe there was a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. That's a, you know, you could say that's an impulsive wave here to the upside. What technically does not look great, but it's not an invalidation, is that when I measure the time it took from the low to the highest point of this structure, this correction is extremely long compared to the impulse. So for the bulls, it's not great to see such a long correction compared to the impulse, because if you want to label this a 1 and you want to label this a 2, you can see it's in the danger zone here from number 4 onwards. Okay, it's the danger zone for number 2. It's never an invalidation, but it does unfortunately impact probabilities. So, right, legends, so without speaking about probabilities, keeping it simple over here, if I zoom into this structure, okay, for continuation to the upside, you want to see a 1, 2, a 1, 2, it should not take the low, okay, and you want to see an explosion to the upside. Maybe another 1, 2 will be perfectly fine, but you want to see continuation to the upside without taking the low. If I zoom out into the larger time frame, here onto the 1 hour, just to show you, well, which scenario based on this structure that am I looking at for continuation to the upside? Is it this one? No, it's not that one. It's not that one. Sorry, guys. I had my folder sorted and then Not so much anymore. Okay, I had it here somewhere. I had it here. Is it this one? No, it's not this one. Where did I say? Where did I save it? Right, guys, I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there. Right, it is here. Is it that? No, it's not this one. I had it here, and I spent so much time doing it, but I can do it, guys. I can do it freestyle. You basically have an A, you have a B, and you're looking for a C to the upside. Just to put it simple, okay? We can make that a little bit bigger, make that the primary scenario. So in a simple ABC to the upside, okay? An A, a 3-wave B, okay? And a C here to the upside. Well, this structure needs to be counted as an impulsive structure to the upside, 5-wave structure to the upside. If the bulls have any chance of claiming this high, this is now the time. This is where it needs to happen. Okay, otherwise we're just going to form a larger triangle. We're going to range a little bit more because we didn't see follow through last night. We literally swinged the highs. Okay, small SFP. I think Andy spoke about this SFP inside of his live stream. I posted a little update on the community just asking, did anyone get into that long that Andy highlighted? Because I did have a short attempt in this little zone, got stopped out with profits, and then Andy highlighted the SFP from the high. I'm not sure. I'm sure a lot of people that watched Andy yesterday maybe took this trade, and now it's getting some nice momentum here to the downside. So if you are in that trade, congratulations. Okay. So in the C wave, what I would like to see, guys, I need to find that scenario because I had it so nicely prepared. Okay, I really had it so nicely prepared. So what did I do with it? It's not that one. ABC variation, ABC alternative. Here we go. There we go. Okay, so I can delete that. Right, let me move this to the top. Okay, this is the most bullish case scenario that I have at the moment. Okay, got in. Well, congratulations. For those of you that did watch Andy's live stream yesterday, he did say that, you know, the highest probable trade that he sees more locally is the swing of this little pivot over there, right? And if you got in, I mean, the risk management was absolutely amazing. Okay, you basically claim the level, grab the liquidity, and you fall to the downside. Okay, absolute stunning trade. Anyways, let's get back to the scenario. Okay, so in the most bullish case scenario that I see here at the moment is the following. Okay, and this is why I said that, you know, on the thumbnail, I tried to make it a little bit green, showing some positive energy. Okay, the bulls have a chance as long as price can form a higher low. And in the scenario, what you would like to see is that you have a A, okay, you have a W, X, Y, and a B. And now, since this low was made for price, if it has any chance of moving higher, you have to count this structure as an impulsive structure that's starting to gain momentum to the upside. So you have an impulse, you have a correction. And now the only way that I can count a bullish structure inside of here is a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5 to go and complete the C wave to the upside. So the bulls have some work to do, okay? The bulls have some work to do. The invalidation for this scenario, there you go. That's the invalidation for this scenario. Because I can't fit a diagonal in here, okay? It's not looking pretty, guys, unless you take that pivot. Unless you take that pivot. Okay, then what you still want to see is you want to see the high taken, you want to see a correction, and you want to see continuation. But basically the directional bias is the same. Price needs to form a 5-wave move to the upside. And at the moment, the structure that looks the best is a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 4, 5, 4, 5. But basically you have a 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5. So you basically want to see upwards momentum and not claim the invalidation. The invalidation is at $65,000. Just give it a round number. So for the bulls, this is the most interesting scenario. This is where I will definitely be looking for a short. Okay, guys, it can really explode. I don't know how high the third wave is gonna go. because the third waves can get very aggressive to the upside. They can go to the 1.618, the 2.618, 2 extension, 3 extension, but I do have the levels. So when you take a fib extension from the low to the high, to the low of the structure, this is where I get these targets from. Okay, these targets. Most common target is the 1-to-1 extension for a C wave, but it's happy days. It can go to the 1.236, it can go to the 382, it can even go and extend to the 1.618 in a A, B, C. It can really rock and roll to the upside. Okay, so bulls needs to defend this low. The bulls really needs to defend this low. Okay, because even in a contracting diagonal, you should not claim that low. Okay, but it's not going to be contracting anymore. Right, so I just want to see something else here on the smaller time frames. Let's go into the 5-minute time frame. I just want to look at this structure. Okay. Can we fit? Okay, let's say. Okay, I just want to switch that scenario off so that the lines are out the way. Maybe this was the low, okay, and now you have a contracting. As long as it's contracting, it's great, okay, as long as it's contracting. Maybe this was the low, okay. I'm giving the bulls the benefit of the doubt. Maybe you have formed your 1, your 2, your 3, your 4, your 5. You basically claim the high and you reject again, okay, and then this correction basically corrects this impulse. So that will also be for me a very interesting longing opportunity, but it can also be a very interesting shorting opportunity. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Price starts trading back below. Okay, and the targets that I like to usually SFP, if this had to play out, is that I like to take a trend-based extension and I measure the length of the third wave. And wherever number 4 ends, that's the low that we have now. The 786 and the 1.618. Okay, but you need to claim that high. You have to claim that high. So if price continues here to the upside, it claims the high and it rejects below the 1.618. I will be looking for a short, but it has to reject. Not as long as price is above the level, I'm not interested, because I know that this can be a 1-2, 1-2, and it just goes. Okay, and then you there adding to position. I don't want to trade like that. Okay, or the 786, but it should not claim the 1-to-1 extension. That's the invalidation for a contracting diagonal. Your fifth wave is not allowed to be longer than your third wave. It's not allowed to. Okay, so that's usually where I put my stop loss. When I'm looking for a short and I see a reaction in the zone above the high, that's usually for me a good place to put my stop loss. Okay, that's how I trade these structures, but it needs to unfold. Okay, it needs to show me what it wants to do. Right, so guys, I'm trying my best to give the bulls a little bit of hopium over here to say that, well, you know, you should not claim the low. As long as price does not claim this low, there's a chance for the bulls to gain upwards momentum. Okay, and obviously, guys, there's a bearish case. There's always a bearish case scenario as well. So the most bullish case scenario is price forms a double 1-2. So you have your 1, your 2, you want to see a 3, a 4, and a 5. Inside of this third wave over here, you're forming a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. So you want to see aggressive momentum to the upside. You want to see in this move, you want to see green volume increase. Okay, so this could be the moment. Now the question is, what if price claims this low? What then? Okay, well, then we're back in the range, guys. We are literally back in the range. So let me clean up the scenarios over here. Remember to smash up that like button if you haven't done so already. Let me just quickly say hi, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Mariella, always great to see you here in the live stream. I thought there is invalidation as we hit 618. Yes, that's why I'm looking at a double 1-2. I cannot count this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, because we hit the 618 as an invalidation. So I can't count it as an impulse. Remember guys, there are different 5-wave structures. Okay, in an impulsive structure, guys, I'd love to educate, you know me by now. Okay, so normal impulse looks like this. Let me switch on the lines, because a lot of people, when they start off with Elliott wave theory, they get confused. And this is where I started off as well. I thought that's your impulse. That's the only impulse you can form. 4 should not overlap 1. Okay, when you take a fib from number 2 to number 3, okay, 4 should not tap the 0.618. That's the invalidation for a 4th wave. But now it gets a little bit more tricky. Okay, that is a normal impulse, an impulsive 5th wave. There's different types of impulsive 5th waves. The next one you get is it does this. Okay, usually 2 goes a little bit deeper. Okay, and it does this. Now you think to yourself, but devil, did hit all the invalidations. How can that be an impulse? But then you form a diagonal. Okay, there you go. You form a diagonal. It has to be contracting because that's the higher probable scenario. So let me just squeeze it in there. That happens. Okay, maybe it does this. Just trying to paint the structure out. Okay, so it claims the 0.618 when you take a fib. It claims the 0.618, but it's contracting. And ideally, you want to see overlap between that wave and that wave. And that is a contracting diagonal. Still, okay, impulsive wave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It contracts, it overlaps. You get a correction and you get continuation. This, by the way, is the lowest probable bullish scenario. Okay, the first one is always an impulse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's always number 1. Number 2 is multiple 1, 2s. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5 to the upside. So you have to give double 1, 2s priority over a diagonal because diagonal carries the lowest probability. Okay, so just wanted to throw a little bit of education in there. So although we have claimed the 0.618, okay, 1, 2, 3, this can still be a double 1, 2. This can still form a 1, 2, 1, 2. Invalidation is the low. And this is why I'm giving the bulls the benefit of the doubt. As long as this low can hold and price forms a higher low, there's at least a chance for upwards momentum. Yes, I did discuss the probabilities. The impulse is incredibly short to the correction, but it's not invalidated. That's your invalidation. Okay, so really good question, because I know when I started out with Elliott wave theory, I didn't understand this. And then when I studied Elliott wave theory, I was like, oh, you get different types of 5-wave structures. You get a contracting leading diagonal, you get an ending diagonal, you get an impulse, and you get double or triple or quadruple 1, 2s. Okay, the most bullish case scenario, there was actually one that happened here. Do you guys remember this one? Okay, here's a perfect example of multiple 1, 2s. Where was it? It was from this pivot over here. Here's a perfect example. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 4, 5. Okay, it basically ends the same way that it starts. You have your highest amount of volume in the middle. That is nested 1, 2s. That was a perfect example right over there. So they do play out often, and even inside of this range, I know that there has been, okay, inside of this range, there was multiple 1, 2s, and I remember because I traded it. Okay, where was it? Oh, it was inside this local range here at the moment. If I go back here onto the 1 hour time frame, here you go. Okay, they are usually the most bullish structures. Okay, here we go. There was a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. Slows down, it breaks, and it falls down. Okay, so they do play out very often, But now, guys, I want to stick here onto the 1 hour time frame. Let's run through a couple of scenarios. The one thing I want to talk about is that, well, what if we claim this low? Okay. It's not going to look great for the bulls, unfortunately, if we claim that low. Okay. I just want to see if I can perhaps fit a bigger diagonal in here. Okay, and this is a scenario that I spoke about yesterday as well, is to say that, well, maybe we're forming a much larger diagonal. So you basically have your A, your B, and you form a larger diagonal in a C wave. So you basically have your 1, your 2, you still want price to hold, but you can see, you can see that that low is still the invalidation, because if price starts moving down and I have to drag this and it becomes a parallel channel, it's not valid anymore. Okay, so price needs to find its feet before it hits that low. It's basically the same situation over here. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Correction or continuation or ending diagonal in a C wave. A, B, ending diagonal in a C wave, you fall down and you claim the low. But price is just moving aggressively here now to the downside. First level of great support that I see here more locally. Let's go back here onto the 15-minute time frame, where I would like to see a bounce. Okay, for the bulls to have a chance is we have a daily level, and it's very, very, very close to the low. But as long as price can form a higher low, the bulls have a chance. Okay, we have a fresh daily level at $65,749. So maybe, just maybe, if it can hold, okay, we can gain some upwards momentum. I'm tracking the momentum, very interested, but also I can attempt a swing failure pattern from this daily level. Just want to see, where do we have point? I don't think we have a point of control anywhere close. No, we have a point of control above, and we have a point of control here at the tippy bottom. Okay, so now I have to talk about the bearish case scenario. What if price slices through, takes the low? What then? Okay, so let's go back here onto the 1 hour time frame. Let me just clean up the levels over here. Ooh, okay, let's run through a couple of scenarios. Okay, I was looking at this scenario to say that, well, okay, we have formed a W, a X. Okay, so it's no longer an ABC, it's a WXY. And now we have formed the A, we have formed the B, it did tap a flat target, and now inside of the Y wave, you want to form an ABC. And this could be A, B, C. Y is done. So here's your most bearish case scenario. Your Y is done, and you now fall to the downside. Claim the low. I just want to see from a timing perspective if it does balance. So if I measure how long it took wave W, I think it's actually perfect. And I put it here on X. Yeah, I mean, it's within range. It really balances. It does make sense. Okay. Or an alternative. Okay, so if price... Okay, wait, let me rephrase. This can be the high. It's done. We have completed a WXY. You have an AB. This can't be a C wave. Sorry, guys. B. Unless this is a WXY. ABC. You have a WXY inside of your Y wave. Okay, that's a better way to count it. Yes, but you can end your structure there. Just wanted to make double sure, because you basically have the following. You basically have a WXY inside of your Y wave. Okay, so let's just do it like that without creating confusion. There's a chance that you could end something here in a WXY. Okay, And now price is building impulses here to the downside, because what is a little bit disturbing, and it's going to show me the way, if I go here onto the 5-minute time frame and I look at this structure here to the downside, this could be the beginning of an impulse to the downside. This could be a 1 2 1 2 1 2. It could be multiple 1 2s. You have the mess. Remember what I showed you? You now have the breakdown in high volume. And now what you want to see is 4 5. You want to see a repeat of this. You want to see a repeat of this. That becomes 1. It corrects in a wave 2 and it continues to the downside. That's the most bearish case scenario if something ended over here. You build an impulse, it becomes a wave 1, creates a wave 2, and it continues in an explosive third wave to the downside. Okay, so guys, I have to talk about bearish case scenarios as well, but I want to see a repeat. That will be my clue. I want to see a repeat of this to the downside. It needs to do that. Okay, like it did over here. And here's a couple of, well, there's one good example that I can show you guys. Okay, I know this is 5-minute time frame stuff, guys. Let's go back here onto the 15-minute time frame. But I'm basically looking for a repeat of this. Okay, let me invert it. Let's do this. This is what you want to see. Okay, for the bears, this is what you want to see. You have your mess. You have your drop with high volume. And now you want to see 4 5 4 5 4 5. 3 4 5 4 5. Okay, so you basically want to see a repeat of that over here. You get the correction and you can get continuation to the downside. Okay, but it does definitely present a very interesting longing opportunity because it's one of my favorite structures to trade. So if price does do this here to the downside in the bearish case scenario, if price does this, it's one of my favorite structures to trade because I can look for a long, okay, and then it's either going to be corrective with continuation to the downside or it continues. Okay, and you know, as soon as you hit resistance, definitely for me, that's a profit taking area. When you start hitting resistance, the underbelly resistance where we lost it, you basically go and retest the scene of the crime. Okay. So let's see. It looks like price wants to slow down. I want to see what CVD is doing here at the moment. Okay, can we spot a sign of strength? For now, it looks like price is stopping. I don't see any local bearish CVD at the moment. Where with this, I mean, guys, I mean, you can see here, okay, this is what I was looking at before the stream as well. Okay, as price was doing this, look at that. Lower high on price action, higher high. Target is taking out the low and price broke down. So CVD played out. It showed that, okay, the bears are in control. Bearish, bearish. Okay, also between those two pivots, bearish CVD. So for now, CVD is neutral. So, okay, for the bulls, I have discussed the bullish case scenario. Price needs to form a higher low. If there's a chance for momentum to move up, you should not claim this low. And I know I'm now discussing the bearish case scenarios. Okay, you basically want to see a repeat of this to the downside. You want price to take the invalidation. Okay, there is a trading opportunity for me, and it could continue here to the downside in a 1 2 3 4 5 to the downside. That's the most bearish case scenario here at the moment. Okay, now let's go back here onto the 1 hour. I just want to see a fixed range for this profile. Let's see where we are. Well, we're basically back inside the range, guys. Okay, range trading. Okay, look at where we got rejected. We got rejected, okay, at the value area high. You lost the point of control. You can see how beautifully it's acted here. Resistance, resistance. You break up, you rejected the value area high. You lost the point of control. The next best level is the value area low. Together with that daily level, I think that is basically the last chance for the bulls, is to hold the value area low together with the daily level. So you're basically looking for this. Yeah. So you want price to find its feet and start reversing back to the upside. And like I highlighted, guys, that's definitely a profit taking area if it does hold the value area low. So from a simplicity perspective, guys, I don't even have to bring Elliott wave theory into it. Okay, you can see we got rejected at the value area high. Point of control needed to hold for bulls to continue momentum to the upside. We lost the point of control where the most amount of volume was traded. Okay, and now the only support that we have left, we have this high volume node over here where it could bounce. Okay, and you can see that is where price is slowing down at the moment, is at this high volume node, or the daily level together with the value area low. You should not claim this low for the bulls. Please show your CVD chart settings just for a second. Oh, the CVD chart is not on TradingView. This is it's charts.aggr.trade. It's a free website, but you need the script. You need to upload a script that shows you the lines that like I have it over here. When you join our community, okay, I can share that script with you, but there's no ways for me to share the script with you here on YouTube. I can't put attachments here in the chat section. Okay, if you want to be part of the community, you can DM me the word access. Very easy to join. DM me the word access to Telegram. Here's my Telegram, and I'll share with you the instructions on how to get into the community. Okay. So guys, yeah, I mean, here from a range perspective, it doesn't really look great up until we get to this point. So maybe it's still going to chop you, but that's a great sign. You want price to start chopping to show you that the bears are running out of steam. As long as price is just continuing here in a straight line, there's not a good chance. You could maybe get the bounce, but you're going to get continuation. Okay, there's a high chance of getting continuation. So you want to see some choppiness. You want price to start slowing down. You want to see that. Okay, you basically want to see that there. You want price to slow down. And if price can start bouncing here, you know, those triple bottoms, there's a good chance you could get a bounce in this zone. But as long as price is just slicing here to the downside like it is now, okay, and if it does that, you could get a bounce, but you can get continuation. Take out the low, and then we're talking about other scenarios here at the moment. So let's talk about a couple of other scenarios, guys. And I mean, this is a very complex range that is forming over here. The one thing that I do have to say is that when we formed this range, I'm sure you all remember this range over here. When we formed this range, okay, it was only up until we got here somewhere that there was a higher chance and a higher count to say that, okay, this looks like a WXY, ABC in a Y wave. But it's really only towards the end of the corrective structure where you can place a high probability count on it. Okay, because while it is forming, there is so many scenarios that could play out, and you're just playing the game of elimination. Okay, this one got invalidated, this one got invalidated. Now I only have one or two left. So now it becomes interesting to look for a short. Okay. And this range, the best counts that I can see here at the moment is, okay, yeah, I mean, let's talk about this here quickly, guys. Let's talk about this. It's also very interesting where price got rejected. At the middle of this channel is where price got rejected. So if we're still going to form this fifth wave here to the downside, well, you do not want price to tap the top of the channel. It is perfectly fine and normal for the fourth wave to reject in the middle of the channel. I have seen this many times before. So that is exactly last night where it got rejected. It left a wick behind and it got rejected here at the mid of the channel. So this could be the end of something, and like I said, in the bearish case scenario, you form a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to complete your fifth wave here to the downside. Like I've been saying over the last couple of weeks, guys, very interesting longing zone for me. because based on all the scenarios, okay, I'm struggling to find an Elliott wave scenario that supports price capitulating to the downside. Most of the scenarios that I'm looking at is geared towards, okay, claiming the low but not capitulating to the downside. I'm talking about $10,000-$20,000 moves, guys, like what happened over here. This was an insane move here to the downside, this move. Okay, I'm not expecting this move based on all the scenarios, okay, to repeat here to the downside. There's a high chance you're going to find your feet here. We do have nice support here to the downside. Okay, the most interesting level, and it would be great if we can hit that level, is that weekly level here at $54,000. Okay, if price is going to continue here to the downside, I think that's a really good zone for the fifth wave to finish up. You form your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you can get a larger bounce here to it. You basically break the trend. Okay. And by the way, guys, this is also known, if you didn't know, because you know that Andy speaks about this very often. Let me just clean this up. Do you know what this is if it had to break out? Do you know what this is? So let's play it out. Let's say price goes down, okay? Let's say price goes down, it completes the fifth wave, and it starts breaking out from this. This is what's also known as a bump and run. You have the two taps on top, you have the aggressive fall to the downside, okay, and you start breaking out. In a bump and run scenario, the probabilities are always high to claim that pivot and that pivot. But guys, if I do enter along over here, okay, there's no ways I'm going to wait until we hit these pivots before I take profits. There's no ways. Okay, I will definitely be taking profits to the upside because the community knows by now how I trade. Okay, I get in, protect position, take some profits to cover my fees, and then as soon as I start hitting resistance to the upside, I just TP myself out of the position. It's just my style of trading. Make no mistake that I will leave a runner. I will leave 10% of the position in case it wants to run here to the upside and claim these pivots. Okay, make no mistakes. But for me, and this is the way that I like to trade, I'm not going to enter a trade here and only take profits when we hit these levels, because it could turn around and fall again. You were in profits and now you get stopped out at break even or maybe a little bit of a loss. So it's just my style of trading at the end of the day, okay? Maybe you have your own plan. Right, but okay, this scenario does look very interesting in terms of where price got the rejection. Okay, and it's also a bump and run. I'm very aware that this is a bump and run scenario as well from a pattern perspective. Okay, pay yourself. Yes, pay yourself, 100%. Please ETH. I'll see if I can get time to get to Ethereum as well. Absolute legend, Devil, much love. Thanks for joining the live stream. DM me the word access. Yes, guys, if you want to join my community, DM me the word access on Telegram. Mariela has shared the link here inside of the chat section, and I'll send you instructions on how to join my community. I love ranges, so many opportunities. Trick quick. I've seen you here in the live streams. Thanks for joining. Yes, I love range trading, guys, because inside of this range, I have taken a couple of trades already. Okay, and I've made money. I've made profitable trades. I got stopped out of 2 trades inside of this range. Only 2. The one I got stopped out last night with profits. Okay, and the other one I took a small loss. That's it. But the profits that I've made during this range so far has been really good for me as a technical trader. Okay, so now let's get back here onto the 1 hour time frame. Okay, there was a very interesting scenario that someone highlighted yesterday during Andy's stream. I'm not sure if that person is here today. I think I'll recognize him if I see him. That looks like a Wyckoff accumulation. Okay, legends, let's get Devil to 150 likes. That would be absolutely amazing. Thanks for joining the live stream. Okay, Legends Devil with the morning YouTube update. I think we have Andy here in the live stream. The legend himself. Yes. Guys, couple of scenarios that I want to discuss is that if you do not know, myself are now doing Deervold, okay? I am doing the morning updates here on this channel. Andy tackles the afternoon sessions. There might be times where we flip-flop around a little bit depending on who's doing what. Okay, maybe Andy wants to go away, maybe I want to go away, and then we'll stand in for each other. But we are doing this to bring you guys more value, more alpha, more updates during the day. Perhaps I'm setting you up for the rest of the day, and then Andy, drags it through into the night trading session as well, the New York Open session. Right, so let's see what else is cooking over here. Now, price can still form a larger triangle. Okay, this scenario is still very much in play. You form a three-wave structure up. So all I did is I moved little c. C used to be over here. I just moved it over there because that high is now higher. So you can now have your A, your B, your C, your D, your E, and guess what? Then you fall to the downside. Okay. In this scenario, you have a clear invalidation. That's your invalidation for this scenario. Okay. Fourth waves are also popular, for a lack of a better word, to form a triangle. So in this scenario, if price is still going to fall down and create that fifth wave in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, triangles are common inside of fourth waves. They are common. So perhaps, we are counting these structures from an Elliott wave perspective like crazy people, and perhaps it's just a simple diagonal. That's all it is. It's a simple diagonal. You've tried to break out, you failed. You left the wick behind. The interesting thing about triangles, okay, is that when you have these movements, they tend to retrace very deep, hitting the 0.886 and the 0.9. When you take a fib from the low to the high, that little structure did hit the 0.9, and it's perfectly normal inside of a triangle where you get those deep retracements. So this movement here could still move down, almost takes the low, and then it bounces. Now this is where it's going to start looking interesting. I want to see some bearish CVD. Okay, and this is basically where price can still form that fifth wave here to the downside. So as per yesterday's live stream, the triangle is just extending. Okay, but I will keep the community up to date. Andy will keep the community up to date if this scenario had to play out. Okay, that's going to be a very interesting shorting opportunity. The easiest way to trade it is obviously you know exactly where to put your stop loss. Okay, you want to see a corrective structure to the upside. It needs to be overlappy, confusing. Okay, you don't want to see an impulse in the structure and then there's a high chance that price could fall down and take the low finally below $60,000. Okay, you can also adjust. I can also do that, guys. Okay, just to extend the triangle to make it more symmetrical. Okay, you basically have a three-wave structure in A. You have a complex structure in a B, which is fine. One of the structures needs to be a complex structure, and then you have a three-wave structure to create C. You could form a three-wave structure in D, and you want to see a three-wave structure in E, after which price breaks down. Finds its feet. Definitely an area where I'll be interested in longs. Okay. Let's see. New WXY. This is something that someone highlighted yesterday in Andy's live stream. And I think, it's definitely worth talking about. And I agree with Andy that I do not really like the A wave, but it's not an invalidation. Okay. You have formed your W. If you guys watched yesterday with Andy on the live stream, you'll know exactly what I'm about to discuss over here. You still formed your W and you formed an A wave in a three-wave structure. You have your B to the upside, C, D, E, and that is basically a triangle in your X wave. I've seen this movie before. Okay, and this is the only thing that concerns me about this structure is that I have seen this structure not too long ago. Okay, So what could still happen here is that you formed your first A wave in a three-wave structure to the upside. And because A is a three-wave structure, B has to be a flat, which means at least it needs to tap the 0.9 when you take it from the low to the high, your Fibonacci. It needs to tap a 0.9 as a minimum target. But let's keep it simple. B can claim the low as well, but you're looking for an ABC flat. You look for an A, a B, a C. Y ends and it falls down. As always, guys, we will keep the community up to date in terms of which scenario has the highest probability of playing out here, but there's still a lot that needs to happen. Yeah. Okay. So basically what I'm looking for, the easiest way for me to trade this scenario. Okay. Let's zoom into this structure. If this scenario had to play out, for me, it might sound simple, but for me, it's simple to trade this structure. What I want to see, okay, and let's make it white and nice and thick. You want price to dip below and start trading back above. That is a sign of strength, and then I know where to put my stop loss. Okay, so that will basically be my setup if this had to play out, and you're looking to claim that high again. So that is your trading setup. From a risk to reward perspective, it's absolutely beautiful. 6.07 risk to reward. It just depends on how low it dips. I know that 0.9 can be confusing because sometimes what happens is it bounces on the 0.9 and then it starts moving up. And that is usually difficult to trade a B flat. Okay, the easiest way to trade it is you want it to break the low. Invalidate the bullish case scenario. You want price to start trading back above, and then there's a high chance that price can come and eat up the high of A. And inside of the scenario, you basically form an ABC flat, a flat structure inside of Y. A, B, C. Inside of Y, and then you want the low of $60,000 to be claimed. Just want to highlight some interesting targets here to the upside as well. Okay, where you could potentially see the rejection is you take your trend-based fib from the low to the high to the low of X, which is over here. Okay, and that 0.618 is definitely a target that could be tapped. I do not know if we are going to get here, because it just feels too familiar. It just feels too familiar because do you guys remember this? W, X in a triangle, and an ABC that rejected at the 786. If I go here onto the 4-hour time frame, I have seen this not too long ago. Here we go. Okay, you have a W, X in a triangle, and an ABC to the upside, but that was a normal zigzag to the upside. But it's not common for the market to repeat itself. Okay, it really is not common for the market to repeat itself. So you have your three-wave structure in a W, you have your triangle in your X, and then you have your A, B, C to the upside to complete your Y, which rejected at the 786. So the reason I don't really like this 786 is because it's exactly the same what formed over here. And, you know, within the same structure to see a similar corrective structure, it's not great, guys. So what I would like to see is the ABC flat, because in the above scenario, this was the difference. The above scenario basically did this. It did not create an ABC flat. It just created a normal zigzag to the upside. So this could be a little bit different, where B dips below, C takes the high of A, it doesn't even hit the minimum target, okay, and then it falls down. Now that would be a little bit different than what happened upstairs, because I know that if price had to dip here below, it starts moving up. Guess where everyone's going to be looking for shorts? And then price falls to the downside before it hits that level. So that to me would be a little bit of a different way for the structure to play out. So I'm purposefully looking for a different way for the structure to play out, because it's very rare to see the same corrective structure play out twice in a row. Okay. Thinking like a true market maker. BTC doesn't usually show the same movie more and then once in a trend. Yeah, Ash, I agree. Okay, I really agree. You know, when you zoom out here onto the 8-hour time frame, okay, it's just something that I've noticed as well, is that when you look at the move, this entire move here to the downside, it is incredibly rare to repeat the same corrective structure twice. It's incredibly rare. Usually what the market does is it alternates the corrective structures, so to create confusion. Okay, we got a WXY. Now what are we going to get? Maybe we get another WXY, but it's an ABC flat where it doesn't tap the 0.9 and then it falls down. Now that sounds a little bit more interesting to me. Okay, so it's still a WXY, but it has a different internal structure based on how the Y is forming. So I must say, the person that highlighted this yesterday in Andy's live stream, yes, this is definitely a valid count and also a very interesting count. Okay, so if price continues down, sweeps the low, starts trading back above, that is where I know where to enter. That is where I know where to put my stop loss. And this is where I know where to take profits. So I'm answering my 3 W's from a trading perspective. As always, everyone knows me by now. I'm not only going to take profits over here. I will definitely take profits on the way up, especially when you hit that point of control of the entire range again. That's definitely a profit taking area. Maybe TP1, TP2, and leave 15, 10, 5% of the position open as a runner, because you never know what the market's going to give you. It could continue. Okay. Always great to leave a runner. Always great, unless you don't close the position by mistake. Okay, but this is definitely an interesting scenario that I wanted to share. And okay, a wave does not look great, but it's not an invalidation. Okay, so I hope I'm giving you guys a little bit of clarity in terms of how I plan to trade. Okay, because I know sometimes people send me messages to say, Devil, it's so many scenarios. How do you know which one to trade? I know which one to trade once price gets to my area of interest. So in this scenario, my area of interest is here. When price gets there and I see the dip below and the acceptance back above, that is where I will execute the trade. If price finds support at the value area low, okay, let's talk about the bullish case scenario. Let's switch this off. Okay, let's switch this off. And I want to go to the bullish case scenario over here. Was it this one? Okay. We have the value area low. We all know we have the fixed range from this pivot to where price is now. We have the daily level. Okay. So I trade from my area of interest. If price falls down here, and I see a swing failure from the daily level, I will attempt to trade. Because there's still the possibility of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here to the upside. 1, 2, 1, 2. It doesn't look great, but I can still trade that reaction with great risk management. And if I'm wrong, I can get stopped out with profits. Let me show you an example. Okay, yesterday I took a trade. Okay, so first, let me tell you a little bit of a story over here. The first thing I posted here yesterday in the community. Sorry guys, I know my face is a little bit in the way. Let me do this. Okay. The one thing I said yesterday in the community, I am not interested in a trade in this zone. I wanted to come to my area of interest from a shorting perspective or to my area of interest from a longing perspective. Okay, when price then came to my area of interest, I told everyone these are the two zones that I'm looking to play a swing failure from. But as price was pumping here, and especially when I zoomed into the smaller time frames, I just did not see any weakness when we hit the 0.786. Okay, so price just hit my shorting zone. I will attempt SFPs from these two levels. I did not see any weakness from CVD, so I was looking at a cumulative volume delta as well, basically this indicator. And as price was pumping here to the upside in this zone, I did not see any weakness. It just looked like the bulls were fully in control, so I did not attempt a short at the 786. I did not attempt a short at the 786. Then I said, I have not entered any traders yet. Momentum is still strong. Okay, that's where Andy went live. Okay, then I had this little fib pool from the low to the high to the low, and I said I will attempt a short if I see a reaction at the 2 extension. Okay, I just entered a small short here, giving the bears the benefit of the doubt for maybe that E wave that we discussed yesterday in the live stream. So now you can see, based on all the scenarios, there was a possibility to form that lower high in an E wave. Okay, I got in at the rejection. There's my trade. But what was important is price rejected. I took profits. Can you guys see? I took profits and I protected my position. And then I told everyone already took profits to cover fees and my stop loss. Okay, if price does not reject here, then I'm looking at levels higher, and then Andy highlighted the SFP from that local high over there. Okay, so basically this, you know, I'm sharing what I'm doing step by step inside of the community. And the point that I was trying to demonstrate over years, even when I'm wrong, okay, for me, it's so important to still get stopped out with profits, or at least a small loss. Okay. So if I'm wrong, and this is what I'm trying to demonstrate over here, if I'm wrong over here, make no mistake, I will repeat what I did last night. I'm a very persistent, repetitive trader because I know consistency is key. I will take profits to cover my stop loss. I will protect position, and if price does want to dip below, okay, and I get stopped out at with profits, hopefully a small little loss at the bare minimum, and price gets acceptance back above, that's now when the next scenario becomes relevant. Oh, I'm aware of the ABC. So if price dips, we lost the daily level, so we're not going to form the bullish structure anymore. Okay, we lost the low. Now, so I hope that I'm trying to get across that I have various scenarios, and when price comes to that area of interest for a specific scenario, I can make a trading decision. And if I'm wrong, I can hopefully, okay, most of the times get stopped out with profits, or at a bare minimum, a very small loss. And that's how I like to trade. So yes, there are many scenarios, but based on how price reacts, I can make a trading decision. Invalidate another scenario, because if price takes this low, you're basically invalidating that. But then the next scenario kicks in. I'm saying, okay, so let's say price falls down. Okay, invalidates the scenario. Then I switch it off. And now I say, okay, well, which other scenario? Because I have all my scenarios in folders, and I will have them ready when price gets there, is this one. Okay, now I know. Next plan is activated. We have invalidated that scenario. So in this scenario, I want price to take the low and start trading back above. That's a next trading opportunity for me. As long as price is below my area of interest, no trade. As long as price tells me that it wants to be bullish, it's showing me signs of strength, then I can enter. I know exactly where to put my stop loss, and I know where to take profits. I hope that gives some clarity, because I am getting a lot of messages from people saying that, Devold, you have so many scenarios. How on earth do you trade them? This is how I trade them. Okay, and the community know already I'm very persistent, okay? And most of the times I get stopped out with a little bit of profit if I'm wrong. But then when the move happens and you nail the scenario, okay, that move, okay, is quite significant for me from a profit perspective. Okay, so now, guys, and there's been a couple of successful trades here, okay, that was shared, that I shared with the community as well. Okay, and if you want to be part of the community, DM me the word access on Telegram, access, only the word access on Telegram. Here's my Telegram, and I'll send you instructions on how to join the community, because that's where I spend most of my time. When I'm done here on the YouTube live stream and something changes, okay, let's say for argument's sake, price falls, okay, let's say this happens, price just falls, then I will keep the community up to date what I'm looking at next. I will invalidate a couple of scenarios, and I will look at a scenario that then fits where price is at the moment. And I will tell everyone, okay, I'm either looking for a long or I'm looking for a short at the retracement. So depending on how price develops, I can very quickly invalidate a couple of scenarios and look at a next tradable scenario. Okay. A lot of down and up movement. Yes, well, price can only go up and down, right? And that's the question. We all want to know, which way is it going to go today? Should we be looking for longs? Should we be looking for shorts? So I can tell you guys now, I am for now very interested in longs, because I know we have the bullish case scenario in a 112 where you don't take the low. And then we have this scenario where you form an A, B, C to complete a Y wave. So I'm very interested in longs. And then once price gets here, I'm going to be very interested in shorts. And I guess the easiest short, okay, let's say we take the long or we don't take the long, maybe you miss the trade. For me, the best short is basically a swing failure from this high. That's what I would like to see. So let's say price bounces in this zone, it moves up, I will consider a swing failure from that high. Okay, I want to see a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because the C wave has to be an impulsive structure to the upside. I want to see price slowing down. I want to see price grab the liquidity, and I want to see weakness. Price needs to start trading back below. That is a sign of weakness. I know where to put my stop loss, and this is the moment where price could really fall to the downside, because you're nearing the end of a corrective structure where you can start counting the end of something. You have a W, you have an X, and you have an ABC. Okay, how much longer is this correction going to extend? I can already count a WXY in the structure. So there's a chance, okay, that when I take the short, or if I do take the short, and if it had to play out, that is where I leave a little bit more open for lower levels. Okay. But guys, I will keep the community up to date as these structures unfolds. Okay, obviously if I'm sleeping and something crazy happens while I'm sleeping, I won't be able to update everyone, but I think we've been able to catch some pretty damn nice trades during my waking hours at least. Andy keeps the community up to date. I keep the community up to date. I remember, guys, just some of the trades that we took here, or that I took here successfully, was the long. I took the short. I took that short right over there, okay, and I took this long. There was also that beautiful harmonic pattern that I highlighted. Do you guys remember this beautiful harmonic? Okay, Osren, I'm not sure if Osren is here in the stream. He highlighted this harmonic. Okay, it was the 786. It was a daily level. It was just such a beautiful harmonic, and I did tell everyone it's not nice to see such a big wing compared to this wing, but it's not an invalidation. It was still within the right time frame. It didn't surpass the 4 extension. Okay, so when you measure this the length of this wing, okay, you can see that it didn't even have tap the 2, the 3. It could have still extended past the 2 to the 3. But anyways, guys, that was a beautiful harmonic. Only problem with this trade that I took, not that I'm complaining, okay, because I shared this trade inside of the community when I took this trade. The only problem with this trade is that I closed my position here by mistake. I wanted to leave some open for higher levels. But guys, for me, there's always another trade around the corner, because I'm actually glad I did close the trade over here, because look at what happened next. Okay, we just absolutely reversed all of the profits. We did not take it, so I would have most probably still been in the trade and benefit from the momentum here up. But I can now look for a next trading opportunity. Right. Devil, what is percentage of TP and position? So it's not really a percentage for me. What I usually do is if price has moved enough for me to take profits to cover my fees, and still have a decent chunk of the trade open, because I will, when you select your market execute and how much percent you want to take, you can see how much money you will have left to cover your fees. So I usually just take enough to cover my fees, so that if I'm wrong, I get stopped out at break even, or at least a little bit of profits. Okay. It's basically what happened here last night, guys. Okay, you can see my stop loss was $581. Okay, but I already took $700 profit. So when I got stopped out, I made 200, well, let's say $100 profit. So even when I'm wrong, I can still make money. Okay, but I do actually think I took a little bit more profits. Price fell a little bit further and then I took a little bit more profits. Okay, but anyways, if you just take it at face value, the way that I'm showing you here right now, when I'm wrong, it's, for me, it's great to be stopped out with a little bit of profit. Cover the fees so that you don't bleed your account. So guys, these are the most, I just want to make sure that I haven't missed any scenarios. Okay, that is a very interesting scenario that was shared inside of Andy's live stream yesterday, guys. Okay, we have a great community. We have some very experienced traders. We have some very experienced Elliott wave counters inside of our community, where people ask questions, where people get feedback on their analysis. I mean, if you want to be part of that community, DM me the word access and on Telegram, and I'll send you the instructions. Okay, so I just want to quickly, okay, now guys, now we're talking about low probable scenarios. Okay, I don't even know if I want to talk about it, but just to show you how price can still move. Okay, you have the flat. It is so ugly. I don't even know if I want to talk about it. Okay, let's just keep it simple over here. You have basically formed a WXY in an A wave. Okay, this is your A, this is your B. Okay, and you fall down in a C, and guess what? Then you jump up again to complete the C wave. There's still a lot that needs to happen over here. If price does waterfall here to the downside, well, that is when these levels starts becoming relevant for me to look for longs. Okay, so there's still a lot that needs to play out. So that's why I don't really want to talk about the scenario, because usually when I highlight too many scenarios, it creates confusion. So just quickly wanted to show everyone what could still play out here. Okay, definitely something that could still play out. Or you form a larger triangle. I don't like it that much anymore, because triangles usually carry lower probability, but basically you have formed a WX, and now you have created that new high yesterday, and you basically just A, B, C, D, E. Okay, but there is still a lot that needs to happen. It's most likely not even going to play out, okay, tomorrow or the day after, in this week. You still basically want price to keep on ranging, and the longer it ranges, I will give priority to this scenario. The most interesting one for me at the moment is that 1 2 1 2, and you want to see continuation. That is your invalidation. If this one gets invalidated, then I'm looking at an A, B, C. Okay, or an A, B, C, but basically you want price to get acceptance back above that low. So those are the two most interesting scenarios for me at the moment, and hopefully I've also shown you how I plan to trade these scenarios. Okay, so the first long that I'm looking for inside of this local structure, just to keep it simple, is that daily level. This for me is the most interesting long right now. So if price maybe chops a little bit and it swings that level, I will be interested in a long. The next interesting level for a long for me is the lows. So if it does not hold this level and it breaks down, then I'm interested in this long. Okay, so those pivots And the daily level for me are the most two interesting longing zones that I'm currently keeping an eye on. And I will keep the community up to date if I, what I'm planning to do over there when price gets to those levels, or if price gets to those levels. Okay, right, that is basically it. Because if you enter with a small position and immediately defend your SL, then very little will remain of the position. Yeah, it really depends on your portfolio size at the end of the day. So I think I'm lucky enough in the sense that I've been able to grow my portfolio to a significant amount. And, for me, it's easy to cover fees and stop losses based on the portfolio size or the position size that I'm trading with. Okay. Talk about the ugly things, Devold. So much alpha. Hit the like, leave a comment after the stream. You know what I want to do, guys, and I'm not sure if this will work out. You know what I want to do, but I think I need to give it a little bit more thought before we actually do it. I want to do a giveaway. Okay. I haven't decided on the amount yet. Maybe $100, maybe $150. I'll still decide on the amount, but I want to give it to like 2 or 3 people. Okay. It's not going to be during this live stream, so maybe I'll announce exactly how I'm going to do it in tomorrow's live stream. But I want to, do a couple of giveaways, also show my appreciation for the community. And but I'm planning to do a giveaway. I just want to think out properly how I'm going to do it so that I can, there's a couple of things I need to consider. Right, smash the like button, Ulifi. Thank you so much, guys. These are basically, or this is basically what I'm watching here at the moment as price develops. Obviously, like I've always say, guys, I spend most of my time in the community. Andy is actually in the community today, providing updates and some scenarios. If I see something, I will also jump in and help out. So if you want to join, you need to DM me the work access to Telegram, and I'll send you the instructions. Have yourselves an amazing trading day. I'll see you all in the next one. Cheers for now.